Today we're going to take a look at coins that I have on the screen right here. I bought these at a coin show that I went to last May, but when the summer rolled around this past year, I didn't have a chance to get to everything like I wanted to. So it's taken me this long to kind of dig out of all that and get the coins that I purchased way back then. These were actually from a couple of different dealers, and I figured there weren't enough, especially of these four on the bottom, to give it its own video, so that I put them both together. We're going to start with a coin from Bolivia from 1935. And so most of these flips were already filled out, and so I've gone in and added a couple of missing details. This is a 5 centavos coin from 1935. And so a lot of the Bolivian coins will have a design similar to this, where you've got a sun in the background. We've got a mountain peak. I believe it's actually a second mountain peak in front of the first one. A palm tree, a llama on here. Flip this one over, and it's going to feature the two snakes around a pole. You might recognize that symbol as often being associated with medical companies or hospitals. This is, the name of that is a caduceus, which from mythology, that was Hermes' staff. So it's got the two snakes and an eagle at the top of the staff. And so a lot of, or a few countries over the years have used this symbol on some of their coins. Not sure why a country would choose to do that. Traditionally, medical uses of this symbol was one snake around a staff, but about 100 years ago, I think it was a military, U.S. military, maybe the Army Medical Brigade would use the two snake. And then ever since they popularized it, now most medical places that will have the snake around the staff use the two snake symbol. So that's what we have here. And for all of these coins, I did pretty much pay the listed price on them. So I did pay 30 cents for that one. The coins on the front row here are all about, in the catalog, about what I paid for them. Next, we have this 20 centavos from Argentina in 1948. The dealer here wrote fine for the condition, and I'm not a grader, but I might take exception with this. I personally believe that it is better condition than that. Now you might see some soft letters here, soft corner of the number right here, but it also has some original mint luster. So I believe that this must come from a time where it was just a worn die and it didn't strike very well. So I did pay 30 cents for this one. You've got their Lady Liberty on here, and a lot of the details show up pretty good on this side. Next, we're going to move to Portuguese-controlled Angola, and so this is design that appears on many of the places run by the Portuguese. And of course, this is a one escudo. We'll see that on the other side, made of bronze. KM76. So this is about my fourth or fifth coin from Angola, but I've only got one from Angola that was made after they were separated from the British, which happened about a decade after this coin was made. We're going to move to the Dominican Republic. And so the coin was sideways in this flip, so I'll get to what I have written on here. Obviously, this is a very well-worn coin. So I have notes here, thick cross, large date, KM 7.3. So this is a large shield, has a book. I don't know if that's a Bible or if it's some other book symbolic to the formation of the Dominican Republic with a cross on it. And so there are versions of this coin. I believe 7.2 is a thinner version of the cross right there. Then also when you look at the date right here, the other version from 1888 is a not as tall date on here. This one did cost me $1.10. Flip it over. This side's certainly more well worn, but there is enough detail here so that I could actually see which version it actually is. Here we go. Had to flip it around before I could tell for sure. So at the bottom of this coin, there is a star. Now, whoever made this coin originally said this was 7.4, and 7.4 of this coin was made by the Heaton Mint. And so the Heaton Mint usually puts a tiny H. On this coin, it was going to appear in two places, one right there, and then kind of both sides of the star. But version 7.3 was made in Paris. And while I don't believe there is a Paris A mint mark anywhere on here, it does have the Parisian privy marks, which they made at the time. So that and the symbol on the other side are both privy marks. And so that's really the way that you could tell that it was 7.3. 7.2 did not have a star or privy marks on the back. And then version 7.1 was an older version of this coin from the early 80s. All right, so those four coins came from one dealer that didn't specialize in foreign. The next two rows here are all from the same dealer. I like this dealer because he has bargains. Now, I do pay whatever is written in red in the circle. That is the price that I paid on all of these. But in many cases, he has them priced well below the book value. And I've even found coins that were below spot price that were made of silver. So let's zoom in a little bit more and go back to coin from Belgium. From 1916, made out of zinc. It's a 10 centimes. Unlike a lot of Belgium coins that will make two different versions of the coin since they have two different languages spoken there, this one puts both spellings of Belgium on the same coin. Since it is zinc, this one was produced before it started corroding any. No words on the back, but we do have the lion ready to fight design that we see on Belgian coins. So I'm going to say this coin is fine condition, but if you found a coin from 1917, the next year, in fine condition, it has a book value of $17.50. Now, there have been times in the past with this particular dealer where they've gotten lazy. They haven't completely looked up a coin before. And so since I recognized what it was and they didn't have it priced accordingly. And so I'd get it at a bargain. And I think that's what happened here. I got it. They just had German written on this coin. And of course, this would predates where Germany was an empire or its own country. It was made up of a German culture of lots of smaller countries. Now, the largest of those probably was Prussia. But when you look at the coin here, this side is scratched a little bit, so maybe it's not as valuable as normally I would think. Some of that might be on the flip, but it's a 2 Pfennig, but they had a different spelling of Pfennig with double N's and another N and then GE there in the end. So it is 1861A. But normally I don't find coins from 1861 with this much level of detail to them. So on this side, they point out that this is a pre-decimal currency, and 2 Pfennig would be 1/80th of a thaler or taler. And so, or in other words, to say that you would need 180 of these 2 Pfennig coins to equal 1 taler, which was, it would have been worth similar to a United States dollar or a British crown. But it has a pretty good level of detail on here. The monarch at the time was Wilhelm I, but it has the monogram on here, which you might not be able to see, but it's monogram of the previous monarch, and it was never changed, even though this 1861 was the first year of Wilhelm I. The monogram is on the chest of the eagle, and they say, to me, it appears to be the letter R. Maybe you can see it right there. If it was in uncirculated condition, you would be able to apparently see that it's the letter F and the letter R. Maybe the F is on top of the R. Can't really see the F too well, even in pictures of other versions of this coin that I've seen. That goes back to the previous monarch, who is Frederick Wilhelm IV. And so this was the A that was on the other side, was a mint mark for Berlin. And so even though this is a dollar in this condition, a coin that dates back from the days of the United States Civil War, in this condition actually has a book price of $18. At least that's what it would say for the level of detail that it has. Maybe the scratches on this side hurt it some. But then it's not like I'm looking to flip this or turn it around or anything like that. Next, we're going to go to a silver coin from the British. It's from 1920. And as I've said before, I can get coins from at or maybe even below spot price from this dealer. So this is listed as 0.0895 at $22 an ounce. That is worth about $2. However, and I'll flip it over as I keep on talking about it, 1920 was the year that Great Britain changed from sterling 92.5% down to 50% silver. And so they didn't really make any design changes to the coin. They just changed the silver content. And in other words, you can't really tell there's not a something that you can look at on here to see whether or not which version of the coin you have. The one thing that you can tell is a sterling 92.5 and a 50% silver coin are going to have a different look, and part of that is based on what the metals are between them. And so the laziness of the dealer may have ended up hurting me on this particular coin. Best I can tell, this one is a 50% silver. Not that I'm an expert in saying that for sure, but they have pointed out that usually when a sterling silver gets as well worn as this one, the sterling silver kind of goes to just kind of a cloudy white look to it, whereas these 50% coins with the other metals that are added to it gives it kind of a darker gray, and sometimes even depending on the tint or how you're holding it up to the light, might even give it a yellowish tint. So maybe you disagree with me and you think this is the sterling version. I'd be interested to hear what you have to say about that. But I'm going to record this that they sold me the 50% at a sterling price, and so the sterling would probably have about $1.25 worth of silver in it. If I had known that, I probably would not have purchased it, because I was just looking to buy that at spot price. Then we get to this coin right here from Turkey. They got this one right for the silver content. So it is kind of a plain design, but this is when they started to have more than just Arabic characters on Turkish coins. So we've got the familiar crescent moon and star that appears in a lot of Arabic symbolism. The name of the country, Turkey Cumhuriyeti. I did pay $3 for this coin from 1948. This one is 0.1447 ounces of silver. It's a 60% silver coin. And so the spot price on this one would be about $3.15. So I got this one at a smidgen below spot. Now, the funny thing about this is I purchased this in May, but I found it at my favorite local coin shop in his 25-cent bin in December, and I'd forgotten about it. And since I found it I was surprised to find a silver coin this large in a foreign bin, so they obviously just missed it. But that one had better details than this one, but it also had some kind of goo on this side that maybe it was stuck to something at one point. So not sure which one I'll keep for my collection and then which one to just add to my general silver stack. So that's something to kind of worry about. Now we'll move to some coins that are in the tiny little flips. We're going to start with this Hong Kong $10 coin. I was pretty sure I already had this, but for a quarter, I think this makes a good one to add to my trade pile. So a lot of the modern Hong Kong coins feature this Bauhinia flower. So for the two metals here, it has a copper nickel ring with a nickel brass center on KM70. We'll move to a couple of coins from Spain. This one is an older coin from 1878. Features Alfonso the 12th. His name is written here on the left. It has an OM mint mark on the other side. I'm not sure if that's Madrid or not. There's the mint mark right here above where it says Cinco Centavos. And this back has a design similar to a lot of the coins that we've seen from Spain in the 1800s. The shield design back here. And then as we move to a bit of a newer coin, after Alfonso the 12th, we have Alfonso the 13th. This is going to be a 2 centimos from 1912. And I was kind of surprised I didn't have this coin already. This coin was made from 1911 to 1912. Before that, Alfonso the 13th was featured on a different version of the coin where he was facing to the right. So this is a second older portrait of him. Now, there is one slight difference between the 1912 and the 1911 version, and that is the initials of, I think it's the mint master or engraver. You see P dot, C dot, and then a dot V dot over on this side. So in the 1911, it's just the P on this side, and then the C and the V make it to the other side. But then this one has the same Spanish crest that we saw on the last one. Next, we'll move to Peru. This one's pretty rough for 1878. And where it says Republica, you can't even see most of the letters, which would be right here. So the KM number here is 188.1A. So 1A was this coin made out of copper from 1964 through 79. So that's this one. Before that, it was a 0.1 made out of copper nickel from 63 to 64. So that would give it kind of the more silvery appearance. And then there is a 0.2 version which was made in 1895 only that featured a newer die. And as we flip this one over, it says dos centavos. Next up, we have a 2-mark coin from Germany. So a lot of the 2-mark coins are made as commemoratives, and there's some people which these coins were made for many decades that you see over and over again. This portrait was one that I hadn't seen as often. It's going to be of Ludwig Erhard. And so you see written on here 1948, 1988. So just without thinking about it, you'd probably think that's probably the years that this person lived. That is not true. This individual actually died in, I think, 1977. During the late 60s, he was the Chancellor of Germany. Before that, he was an economist. And so he came up with, as to following World War II, his economy ideas was to establish the Deutschmark as a method of stabilizing the German economy. And so they started to make this coin in 1988 on the 40th anniversary of the Deutschmark, which was created by Ludwig Erhard. This coin was not made in '88, although at first the seller thought it was, so they wrote '88 on here. It's actually 1990, and it has an F mint mark right there. We'll move to a coin from the Vatican City. Featuring Pope John Paul II looking to the left. It has the date in Roman numerals on the right, so that MCM LXXXI is 1981. But Vatican coins also will note the year that the Pope has been in the office. So 1981 would have been year number 3, which is written right here. And it's not going to be a surprise that a Vatican coin is going to have religious and Catholic symbolism on it. So this coin has the depiction of Christ in 3 different ways. And so I think Christ is often depicted in Vatican or Catholic symbolism by having the circle that goes behind his head. So on the left, he is as a prisoner, as you see, he is shackled with the chain running from it. In the middle one, he's laying in bed as if he's sick. And on the right, it's noted that he is not very dressed. And so these aren't necessarily to say that Jesus was these ways in the Bible, but it's how he ministers to the people who are these things. So he is, it's based on a writing of Pope John Paul II talking about how Jesus would minister the needs of those who were in prison, those who are sick, and those who are poor and need clothing. So that's the symbolism on this coin. Then our last coin in this video is a 5 centimes coin from Italy that I'm actually surprised I've never seen, because after this coin came out, they made a smaller version of the 5 centesimi, which is fairly easy to find, but I'd never really seen this one before. So here I have Victorio Emanuel III. So this one is a kind of a key date. They put a price of $1.50 on here. And in fine condition, my catalog says that the book price is actually going to be $4. But there is a variety that misses the dot that is after the letter D right here. And I guess it's because it's D apostrophe. Maybe they felt like they didn't need the dot that is between all of the other words and abbreviations on here. So that is much rarer. That makes the value go up 10x. So if you had a version in fine condition without that dot, it would have a book value of $40. So this is going to be our last coin of the video. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll tune into some of the future coin pickup videos that I have. Thanks for watching. Bye.